deadline on Oak Street, aisle 3.
Welcome to the housing market. I'm with Redfin, and I'm here to help.
I need to sell my house.
Great. Redfin charges a 1% listing fee when you buy and sell with us, which is more than half off the usual fee, and saves you an average of $8,400.
Oh, wow. Is that all?
Yep.
I'm kidding. You had me at 1%.
Want to win? Sell with Redfin. It's real estate done right.
Bidding war at the offers counter in 5 minutes.
Average savings is Redfin refund plus 1% listing fee. Subject to minimums. Not available in all areas. Learn more at redfin.com.
Hi there, I'm Adam Kibas. This is another episode of my podcast. We're still in the pandemic. I'm still in Urdu. Nothing has changed in Turkey. I hope that you all are doing fine. We will continue today where we stopped the last day, where we stopped yesterday. And this is this difficult topic with desire. It is indeed one of these things which I think which is pretty much evident that everyone talks about, especially desire always comes with love, false love, true love. And we will have to inevitably make some statements and comments about love as well. So where we see love, what is love, what we assume is love, and so on. But this is all in the making. This is all in the future. Like I said, this is if you want some sort of a philosophical journey, a thought process where we try to figure out what could things mean. So if we don't have, I did not have prepared an exact knowledge. I don't know which results we will come to, and I always want that we start from a common ground. This is the reason why I use, for example, Google definitions, because everyone can Google it. Everyone nowadays, or at least most of the people nowadays, have a smartphone, and in a way can have access or some sort. I know some may not have, but in a way these Google definitions, they are somehow commonly known. And of course there is indeed if you want a difference between an English native speaker and a German native speaker, in that sense that we learn those exact definitions, whereas an English native speaker grows up with words like desire, with want, craving. It's not quite clear when to use them. The English language has indeed a lot of synonyms. It is very difficult for a German native speaker to learn English, because it is firstly a very visual language, and secondly all those synonyms, because it is visual, they are used in a special way. Sorry about that. I always have to intermittently interrupt the recordings because we are in Turkey, and in Turkey there is some weird habit that you always announce the death of someone via speaker. So this is the reason, despite the fact that it is 8 a.m. in the morning, and I don't think that in the pandemic that it is very smart to announce the deaths of people via speaker, because this will further devastate the population and will eventually lead to some panics. But however, this is what habit in Turkey. So I'm sorry about this. I always have to interrupt it, because here in Turkey those announcements are made. I always try to record it early, but yet you can't choose it. I always normally I was recording it later, but no matter what you do, you somehow always bump into these announcements, despite because we are in the pandemic. However, we wanted to talk about desire. This was our topic. This is very important, and we talked yesterday about the if you want the social implications of desire, what has changed. I mean, I tried to portray. Firstly, I think I want to repeat this again, that over-sexualization was not made via internet, was not made via porn industry. Over-sexualization was present before that. I mean, over-sexualization was as well as dates back, I think, even in the antiquity, where you have some books, some charts and so on. So in the antiquity, you see a lot of naked men, a lot of naked people in portrait as a bust and so on. So in the antiquity, in Greek antiquity, in Roman antiquity, there was of course the display. This was rather, we talked about it, a homoerotic, so the young male bodies were displayed. This was actually, if you want, the first time where you can say where man or male were in a way in the center of all attention, the male body, muscular, youthful, and so on. So this is very important that we notice it, and I wanted to repeat this again. So over-sexualization did not start with the internet. It was actually, we know this from the antiquity and so on. But yet what has changed, I mean, of course, this is what I try to explain, is that as a man, how you perceive things. I mean, still there are some things as a man. Still there are genders you have to be, or genders you have to follow, things that people still expect what man should do, what man should be, and so on. And the same is for women. And over-sexualization, this is the second important thing, is not a one-way road. It has some sort of an invisible side, and this is that firstly that men are affected by this as well. So women, of course, in recent time, the female body, the woman, is in the center of all attention, is the object of over-sexualization. But this has as well as effect to men as well, because women are being considered as Aphrodites, as women who are very sexually experienced, have if you want some demands, competition. This is again what I try to portray, and this is that, of course, things have changed compared to the baby boomer. Back in the days, as a baby boomer, you could partially assume that the girl you are with was a virgin, that she did not have much sexual experiences, and so nowadays this is not the case. As a man, you will assume, or will have to assume, that a woman had more partners. So this is again, your manliness is questioned. You are not the first one. You have to compete with other men and so on. And this, of course, increases your uncomfortability, increases your fear, that you feel uncomfortable. Manliness again is big in the topic. However, this was what we are talking about. Today we will some sort of clear some definitions. I know that these are very simple definitions, especially if you're an English native speaker. Then you probably use these words without further thinking about it yet. I mean, I'm a German native speaker. And for us, especially through learning the language, you, of course, had to learn those definitions, even those simple ones, when to use when and so on. I mean, when we talk about desire, of course, there are a lot of synonyms. Synonyms, they are always mostly general. I mean, I have written down some synonyms from Google Dictionary. This is, everyone can Google this and see it. And the first word of verb a verb, if you want, is want. Want is a desire to possess or do something, and I outlined to possess. I mean, this is what we talked about. Hate. Sometimes that an object that you have a special relationship to an object, it belongs to you. Possession. You want something. If you want something, this object has to have a meaning for you. This would be simple object relationships, if you want. So an object and possession is in that extent has included and entails a special relationship of the object, a value. So we talked about someone who associates himself with the car. This is very common among men. So if you have a let's say a very fast car, a supercar, hypercar, whatever you have, this is some sort of a statement about your manliness and so on, and other things as well as is wealth and so on, and this all has to do with the gender. So we always have to consider a want, and this is what we will talk about a little bit later, is that we desire, want, we always have to consider is at the backdrop, at this society, at your gender, where you belong to. I mean, we talked about Sex and the City, we talked about Miranda, the character of Miranda, which some sort of epitomizes woman or female emancipation in the 21st century, which I said that it some sort of indicates a wrong development as well, because femininity is sacrificed for the sake to adopt to a male society. However, and this and we have to see and emphasize again that we here cannot talk about object. This is what we talk about love, especially. So love is something you cannot have love for an object, because love always demands a response. Love always gives you a reply. However, I mean, we will center here. Want is rather, you would use it for objects. I mean, I want, I don't know, a cup of water. I want something, and so on. And crave would be the second word which I wrote down from Google dictionary. This is, and the definition for crave is feel of a powerful desire for something. Again, we have here the object. Again, we have here something. An object has meaning for you. And I mean, again, there are indeed a lot of definitions, and I only chose those want and crave in order to emphasize again that desire is connected to an object, and I have a definition of desire as well. Desire is according to Google a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wish to happen. Desire, you crave something, you want to be connected to something. You have a desire, you wish something. We will talk about desire in terms of in physical terms here, of course, in sexuality. I mean, what I desire, which type of person I desire. Again, we will not. I think the LGBTQ plus community, actually, there are enough literature which some sort of talk about the gender, the homosexuality, or why you crave, or why you want the same sex. There is enough literature. Again, I mean, I'm a heterosexual man. I'm a straight man. So this is, of course, from a perspective of a straight man. So we will some sort of analyze the desire to women. I mean, but again, not why we desire women, or why, for example, a man loves to be with a woman. But the goal of our inquiry is that we some sort of figure out this special type type of woman, what we try to figure out with the analysis of Sex and the City. I mean, a special type of woman, the conditions which might hamper or hinder our judgments, or where we some sort of choose, if you want, an outcome which we are not satisfied with yet. We can some sort of ease our fear and so on. I mean, that's why it was very important that we emphasized the social backdrop of this society. But indeed, we have to mention as well, desire has, of course, non-physical implications as well. Desire would be something you would have, could have, and desire for emotional closeness. So we cannot deny this. So the word desire, we will not confine it only and solely for physical goods. It has in a broader meaning. Desire has a very broad meaning, with wish, that it has, that you have to say that it is non-physical as well as physical, as well as so we have to be very careful about this. And of course but the key word in desire, in want, in crave was our object, and this is where we start. I mean, where the object is where we will some sort of follow a path in our inquiry. And I have written down possession as well. I mean, we talked about it in hate as well. I will some sort of repeat this definition of possession, and this is again from Google. Possess, to possess. The verb to possess, according to Google, means have as a belonging to one own. So it is yours, you belong, it is part of you. And the second definition is have complete power over someone and be manifested through their speech and action. So this is again that you do not have only that you want to possess an object that you desire, and this object, of course, this is something we will repeat over and over again, has to have a special meaning, has to have a special value. If we come back to the car, I mean, you will, as a man, you will hardly. This is, I think, one of the reasons why electric cars or some small cars are very hard to sell. I mean, as a man, in an age where you have to prove your manliness, or where your manliness is actually questioned all the time, you will have hard times making someone associate himself with I don't know, with a small electric car or what have you. I mean, designed it or with other objects. I mean, it is always easier if you have wealth, if you're wealthy, if you are a billionaire, then it is always easy to say, yeah, well, we all have to be humble, we don't need to show off our wealth. But again, we talked about this before as well. I mean, you, as especially in the other classes where you are not that as good off, where you some sort of cannot do not have enough wealth in order to be humble. There, you, of course, you have to prove yourself as a man that you are capable. If this want to that you are potent, that you are capable, that you accomplish something, like a peacock who wants to show. I don't know even who wants to show his woman, his female, that he can take care of her, that he can fulfill what is demanded from him in society still. I mean, of course, we don't know how this thing will change, but still these things are possessed, are in a way demanded from someone. And again, I mean, I have to repeat, this is not only for men, this is as well as for women. I mean, women are always considered to be nice, to be down to earth, to be homely, to like family. This is a way, some sort of a characteristic where we identify a good woman. This is what we have actually forgotten to say. So these characteristics between good and bad. What is a good man? A good man is arduous labor. A good man can take care of his family. A good man earns enough money, has a job, and can provide and solely provide for his family. And a bad man is, for example, an unemployed man is a bad man is someone who is lazy, assumably, who is lazy, who cannot take care of his family, or in whose home he's not the pater familia. Of course, those things have changed, but nevertheless, they are still in this. They are still present. They are still in the society, and as well as with a good woman. This is how we see the world in good and bad. A good woman is nice, is polite. Takes care of her children, takes care of a man. This is very important. A good woman takes care of her man. She is appreciative. This is especially in a time where manliness is questioned. This is, of course, a very key thought, that women, in order to be thankful, have to be appreciative, because men work their ass off, men fight in wars, and so on and so on. So this is how people, or man, if you want, consider a good woman, and a bad woman would be then that a woman does not care, she's not homeless, she's free, she is emancipated, and so on. And in further, that she's manly, that she behaves in a manly way, meaning she's independent, because this is still associated with man. But in order to come back and again to emphasize this, again that we have to emphasize that we put in an identity to an object, and this object has then a desire, and we want to possess it. This has a special connection to us, and it has a special value within the society. So this is again what we have to tell here, that let's say wealth or a car, if you want, has only a meaning as value in a society when it is generally accepted as valuable, or wealth, whatever you have. There were some societies where people, I would not say were not wealthy, but they would not show off their wealth and so on. So there were people would have other means to show that they're laborers, that they accomplish something, and so on. But this is in a way really crucial, and we try to show this in an anthropology through the military, that man always take care of the women. This is how manliness is defined, this gender, which still is present to this day. And then later, with the rise of the businessman archetype, then more and more man had to take care of his wife financially as well, and protect her from foreigners, from people outside of and so on. And therefore, desire, of course, in our definition, and we will some sort of narrow it down, and this means sexual desire. So we will talk about sexual desire, what we desire here in the opposite sex. If you read the antiquity, antique philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, this is in general, this is what you have in Aristotle with friendship, who is capable to good friendship, who can have true friends, and so on, and as well as in Plato, symposium, whereas I have to say in symposium there is some questionable parts as well. This is the reason why I will not go too much into detail in symposium. There are some issues with pedophilia in Plato. Again, this was very common in antiquity. antiquity sadly to have some connections with younger boys. This is what you see, read in Plato. This is why you have to be very careful with this. However, this was very common in the antiquity, again because of the homoerotic culture of the display of the male body, of the youthful body. However, but if you read antique philosophers of the antiquity, then you immediately get the notion that desire, especially love, in that matter, love would be some sort of it depends on a mental disposition, meaning that you have to have some character traits, maturity, what have you, or virtues in order to love, and therefore desire would then be true. Desire would then be some sort of, if you want, only a special or only a few people are capable of true love, or only, and therefore their desire is truthful, and so on. So you have in the antiquity, this is what you find in Plato as well as in Aristotle, a very elitarian approach. So only a few are capable to have true friendships. Only a few are capable to lead the society, and so on. This is very common in the antiquity. I mean, I disagree, of course. So, however, we have to talk about mental abilities as well. I would not say mental ability or virtuos. This is rather character. Nevertheless, you can learn to love someone. I mean, love or compassion, what you want, is something which develops. It develops over the year. It starts in your childhood with your family, and then grows, and then later takes part in your family, in your adult life. So, love is something we learn through our lives, despite the fact that we talk about love so much, and that is almost everyone talks about in a way or another love, yet we know little about it. I mean, and this is, of course, will be interesting in our inquiry as well. But in order to stay in the antiquity, but of course, these general explanations, this goes some sort of not far enough, because interesting for our inquiry would be, as well as, for example, as a man, why do I desire, for example, blonde women? Why do I desire brunette women? I mean, one example is, this is very common in German, for example. I don't know whether this is known or common in the English sphere, but in Germany there are a lot of blonde jokes about blonde women, and these jokes some sort of always are telling or some sort of convey that blonde women are stupid, that they are dumb, and that they are in a way over-sexualized. So this plays a significant role, how blonde women in the German-speaking sphere are being perceived, and of course this will be, of course, a bit difficult to prove, but you can do this through the media. I mean, I don't have enough access to do that, or I could watch out. However, but this is something you can easily prove through the media. I mean, how blonde women are being portrayed. I mean, this is what you can see here in Germany. In Germany, Austria, and I would assume in the German-speaking Swiss, how blonde women are portrayed, and this is stupid, over-sexualized. So they are easy to get, and this is some sort of reflected in blonde jokes, and there are a lot of it. I think there is even a site in Germany, I think, well, I don't know, www.witze.at, or they, and there are a lot, I think more than 1,000 jokes about blonde women. And these blonde jokes, they are very common. So they have in school, when I went to school, a lot of people would tell those blonde jokes. And there are not, and in contrast, brunette women, they are mostly considered as smart, so they are some sort of opposite, whereas blonde women are being stupid or being considered as dumb and stupid, and brunette women as smart, as not over-sexualized. So in the German sphere, we have again the blonde. But this blonde woman is over-sexualized. I mean, this is something you can, of course, draw connections to previous historical developments. Some sad developments as well. For example, in the National Socialist period, there was always this fear that this wealthy Jew, which was always portrayed in a certain way, that this wealthy Jew with a big nose and with eyes and so on, that this wealthy Jew would some sort of lure away those good blonde women, those good blonde Aryan women, and that this poor thing can do nothing else than to give in and so on. So there was this special fear, so this over-sexualization of the blonde woman in the German sphere is actually very old, and even before that, because anti-Semitism or political anti-Semitism was not started by the Nazis. This was very common in Austria, in Vienna, for example. So this plays indeed a very crucial role in our choices as well. I mean, do you assume as a man that it is easier to get a blonde woman because there are jokes and so on? And we talked about migrant communities as well. I mean, blonde women are very rare in the Middle East, and they have some sort of a certain value. They are associated with whiteness, with European lives, with Europeans and so on. So if you have a blonde girlfriend, it is for some a status symbol, as well as you see this perception partially in North American communities among Afro-Americans. So this white woman, this blonde white woman is some sort of central in a desire, not all of it, but in a desire, and in both ways, of course. So, and we talked about it as well. So blonde women are always been considered as pure, as some sort of, especially in Germany and in the National Socialist ideology, it was always considered some sort of that blonde women have to ensure racial purity. This is their task. This is what is being demanded from them. This is partially true. What is partially persists to this very day. So it is not something which could be eradicated by Nazification, because the Nazis were ingenious. Sadly, this is of course sadly, you have to say this, they were very good propaganda agents. They had very good propaganda agents which could even harm people's minds for generations to come. And we still in Austria, for example, and partially in Germany, we still have to deal with those indoctrinations, because they were so sadly so good, so went so deep and so on. But it is of course interesting. So there are of course racial considerations play a crucial part in it. Racial considerations play as well as a part whether you have an interracial relationship. Why? Yeah, because of a child. How will your child look like, and so on. This is indeed very, very it is a big question, despite the fact that we live all in multicultural society. So I did not see the left or the far left some sort of engage in interracial relationships and so on. So in the end, everyone stays among themselves. And this is, of course, we see this in recent time as well. I mean, I have only slightly some sort of followed the discussion about Meghan and Prince Harry, and of course the discussion before this was with Kate, Prince William's wife. I mean, whether she is a gold digger and so on. So, but there is, of course, in recent time there was a lot of controversies there. I mean, of course, I mean. It is indeed. I mean, I will not make much any statement of it, but for those who don't know, is that Meghan is colored. I think colored is the right term in English. So she has she is African. She's of African descent. You see this or not? I mean, this is for again. I say this from a European perspective. I mean, we did not grow up much with those black studies and so on. So if I look at Meghan Markle, if I look at Nicole Scherzinger, I don't see a black woman. I see just a Middle Eastern woman, or not a Middle Eastern, but I would see I see a Mediterranean woman. I mean, if you see some Spaniards, if you see some women from Sicily, from Greece, from parts of Turkey, I mean, you would hardly. This, of course, has an effect how you see people, how you categorize them, and in continental Europe, at least, you would not say that these are black, or I wouldn't have seen whether they are black or not, but rather, yeah, this is from the Mediterranean and so on, has probably, I don't know, a Sicilian, a Spaniard, or a Greek as a father, or an Arab, whatever you have. But this is very common in the Anglophone sphere, because in the Anglophone sphere, this is again for people from continental Europe, new, but well, I would not say new, but something we know, that this obsession with race, whereas in Germany and in the English-speaking sphere, people always try to avoid the word race, which means Rasse in German, which has always a negative connotation, because the Nazis made a lot of use of it. But the Nazis called other white people who did not have any difference, or who did not have any difference from other Germans and white people as different, so on. So race in that sense. However, what it is, race in that sense, and we talked about this as well. I mean, it has always some sort of, it is human-made. So this is a factum. However, but I slightly followed this discussion there. I mean, this is indeed desire plays in that as well. I mean, this would be a woman of African descent is then some sort of related with the royal family, and of course it was some sort of big question: is this a PR gag? What is this? Especially in that sense, I mean, in my youth, I mean, Prince Harry was well known for his escapades, for his drunkenness. I mean, he once was photographed when he was wearing an SS uniform. I mean, this is already hideous, and then you might assume some things you always assume, and then later he decides to marry a colored woman and some sort of make her a duchess, I assume, or I think, I don't know. However, this all had a connotation location of some sort of as a setup, and that it was made and so on. I mean, I don't know anything about the royal family. Like I said, I mean, royalty is something in the 21st century you have to question. You should question, because we should steadily get over this two-class system. However, what it is, I mean, it is true that in some Middle Eastern countries where the royal family is way more despotic, way more questionable, however, but in that sense here, desire played a crucial role as well, or can play a crucial role, because desire determines as well as your sex, your gender. I mean, I talked about it slightly in rap videos, for example, in rap videos. Or in general, you have to say that black women are actually not really in the center of over-sexualization, because over-sexualization is mostly, we talked about this, mostly about white women, about white blonde women, because this is purity, this is still been considered as pure, as healthy. This is what you see still in the ads. So if you watch some ads, in those ads you still see some, if this is an ad about health, if this is an ad about purity, I don't know, about water, about food, and or medication, what have you, then it is mostly then this is mostly about or you will see mostly white people, mostly blonde, blue-eyed, and so on. So this is a lot of with purity, or it is associated with purity, and this is of course a key part of desire as well, or it plays into desire. And in this sphere, actually, there is no room for black women, or for black women and Asian women. I mean, Asian women. Well, in Asia, yes, in Asia, if you see some ads in Asia, then of course, yeah, Asian women are sexualized as well, but not in the West. And in the West, in the North America, then there you see that black women, they are not sexualized. They are not sexualized as white women, and this is of course a key issue. I mean, one thing is of course that there is some manliness behind this manliness, in that sense that one assumes that black women or their bodies is some sort of made only to have or to have sexual intercourse with black men. So it was made in that way, so that it has an effect of desirability, because again it plays into this issue about fear not being sufficient, or about fear not being able to perform, especially from a white man's perspective. And this still plays a crucial role, because the object you see on the screen of the billboard, of the chart, this is something you want to possess. I mean, I don't know if you see Kate Uptown, because I mentioned Kate Uptown because there was a discussion, I think, a couple of years ago about beauty. However, if you see a picture of Kate Uptown, then you some sort of would like to be with if you want, desire her, and so on, sexually desire her, and this is what you partially will not see with black women, or only rarely. And if you see a black woman who is desirable, then she has mostly white woman features, or some sort of typical European facial features, and so on. However, we will talk about this the next time, Moin. Well, not in detail, detail, but this is something we have to consider as well, how this affects our desire. So this was Adam Kirbas from Urdu on this October day. It is again a sunny day in Urdu in the Black Sea region. I hope that you are all doing fine in this pandemic and that we together will go through this difficult time. Bye.
We've all spent more time with family lately. It can feel like old times, but your mind is on the future too, and what you can do to shape it. At Sandy Spring Bank, we work with clients to help them grow and protect their money with wealth management, trust services, and insurance, so they can enjoy today and ultimately pass along their wealth. We believe real banking is a conversation. Let's talk about your dreams. Visit sandyspringbank.com/wealth. Wealth and insurance products are not FDIC insured, not guaranteed, and may lose value.